Hello, we're here to talk about what is a functional curriculum. And at the end of this presentation, I'm going to give you a sneak peek on different strategies that can help reduce or eliminate the arguing between the provider, whoever is providing the academic work or expectations at home, as well as out in the community. So let's go ahead and get started. Functional life skills is also known as independent or daily living skills, transition, pre-employment, pre-vocational, vocational, or career skills, community living skills, and functional academics. And we are going to go through examples of all of these and how you can support your learner even from the early elementary days. Sample life skill domains are daily living personal care, social relationship skills, communication, vocational skills employability, community participation, leisure and recreation, health and safety, and self-determination. One of my most favorite definitions of a functional curriculum is a functional curriculum focuses on skills that build independence, but those skills include functional academics. These are activity-based, not just explaining how things work or are done. So it's actually doing. I have a very short video that I'm going to play. I hope the sound comes through for you. If not, I will also make sure you have the link for this video. I think it's really well done. It's quick, but I think it's very well said. So let's go ahead and watch it.
Welcome to Teachings and Education with Frank Avella. The topic of the day is functional curriculum, which is a curriculum designed at improving the overall quality of our students' lives, usually for special needs children. Functional curriculum content should focus on helping students develop their independent living skills. Independent living skills include personal hygiene, getting dressed, cooking, cleaning, bathing, healthcare, and much more. The curriculum itself should be activity directed. Educators should have students actually doing things like counting their money, as opposed to just explaining to students how it works. Teaching students to be engaged in the community can help them get access to resources and career opportunities. Students with intellectual disabilities and ASD children in particular have difficulty with communications and social skills. Functional curriculum must help our students increase their ability to socially interact and communicate regularly with their peers. Math and reading must be a priority of functional curriculum. Math and reading are essential elements of life skills, as you must be able to read signs and do math. Educators must use the generalization techniques with their students, meaning students use what they learned in the class in real-world situations. Eventually, we want students to be prepared for the workforce, and as educators, we can do this through jobs training. Special needs students may need help with things like creating a resume or how to apply for a job. And lastly, functional curriculum should look to integrate the general education curriculum. General education topics should be challenging yet achievable. Right now, I just want to say thank you for your time. Check the description for functional curriculum resources, and don't.
So I know it went fast. You might need to re-listen to it. It seems overwhelming, but it really isn't as challenging as what and overwhelming as it appears to be. There's a lot of things, but a lot of the activities do overlap in daily life. So standards-based curriculum, or SBC, versus a functional curriculum, FC, for students with disabilities. So students with disabilities face difficulties in their day-to-day activities that make them dependent on others in order to live successful lives. So a focus on functional curriculum raises the issue of limiting the potential, professional, or otherwise. So a standards-based curriculum are set by each state to enable a student to be exposed to the well-rounded curriculum and be ready for independence in career or post-secondary education. So what we're doing is we are pulling the essentials for daily skills, daily living for our students, and putting that to work in their day-to-day lives. So let's look at math. Focuses on math should be on things that they will use again in their daily lives. So clocks, they need to know numbers, they need to be able to read. Basic clocks that are on walls, more and more are going to digital, but there still are analog out there. Um, if your student does not grasp the concept or unable to read a analog clock, I would suggest getting a digital watch for them. Calendars are really important. They learn about dates and counting down. They can count to 30. You're reviewing every day the days that have passed, what day of the week it is. Everybody relies on a calendar in their daily lives, so this is really important to be able to understand calendar skills. Money is also used every day, and again, you're using those standards-based skills on adding, subtracting, counting, as well as problem solving. That goes into our next one, problem solving. So if you don't have enough money, what do you do? Or do we have enough money to purchase that item? You would prepare the student in a home environment, always using real money, and then you would take them in the community to practice those skills. So you would practice in a home using skills, maybe having your child purchase an item in your home from you just as a practice, or looking at menu math. I love menu math. That's a great one. We can talk about some of those later on as well. Having your child purchase tickets both online and in person. Movies, this is a great one. A lot of things are now pre-ordered, pre-purchased. Teaching your child as they continue to go through the day-to-day life of purchasing those tickets online and in person. You can incorporate younger students in watching you or listening to you to hear how those things are done. Ordering meals. It's really important that your child's ordering their own meal when you go out in public. If your child's using an alternative communication device, you can pre-program their device with pictures to push those buttons, and you can practice by doing hand over hand or having them, if they are at the point of being able to pick those on their own. When somebody comes to the table, if you have a verbal child, maybe the first step, if they have social anxiety, is just pointing to the picture, but making sure that they are communicating their wants to the order that they are placing. When you go grocery shopping, yes, this may take a little longer. Perhaps you need to make a second trip just to do a grocery shopping trip with them. The first step would be looking at a grocery list, and then taking them into the grocery store and finding those items. And then you would also get to the point where they would be able to budget and purchase those items. As you can see, it's a gradual increase as the child develops skills. And then correlating with that, bringing in the cooking. So you can see these domains are being crossed over from a variety of areas. From grocery shopping, you can talk about healthy cooking, you can talk about meals, meal planning. Those are all part of a functional academic curriculum that are extremely important for the day-to-day activities that they will be doing after they are independent or graduate their high school. Other ways to incorporate those functional math skills in your daily life are really talk about how to be on time, using timers in the house, using a stopwatch, using a time on your clock to say, okay, we need to leave the home in. You can at first use a timer to count down where it's visual, and then as they get older, you can utilize the clock as they know how to tell time. Depend on a schedule with specified times throughout your day, and this does not include your day-to-day activities. So like if you do math, I wouldn't say math is from 9 to 9:30, reading is 9:30 to 10, and we'll talk about why later. These schedules are more when you want to go to a doctor's appointment, or if you need to be someplace outside of the house or do something at a certain time. Maybe you could have dinner at a certain time every day. Those are the things that you want to look at. Just remember, when you're using a specified time, that time is concrete. So don't change it because we're using that skill to learn how to be functional in their day-to-day lives as they graduate. Okay? Reading clocks we've talked about. Another one in the community is using a vending machine. Vending machines anymore, a lot of them no longer use coins. Some of them do. Others use debit cards. There's a great program as your child is getting older to use. I love, it's called Greenlight. I'm sure there's other programs out there. Greenlight does not allow your child to go negative. You can oversee what they are spending their money on, and you can give budgets. So maybe you are saying, okay, the child's able to use $10, $15 at a restaurant, and then they are using and paying for their meal using their own debit card. It's a great way to start that budgeting, savings, and our next area. So our next area is budgeting. So we are working on teaching students at a young age on saving. You might have a money bucket in the home, or other methods. Maybe you have a bank account. It's really important that you can use tangible skills, hands-on, visual things that they can see. Students really struggle with being able to understand what the money in a bank account just looking at an online account is. So that's why it's important to use those tangible things for functional academics. Big versus small purchases. You can start this at a very early age. What is a big versus a small purchase, and how long does it take to save for each? Equivalence in money. Start talking about 5 dimes is the same as 2 quarters, things like that. Again, great way to incorporate functional academics into math. The biggest thing is real money. One of the only skills that does not transfer, and I'm not sure why, but a lot of studies and research has been done on this. If you use fake money or visual money on a computer, it does not typically transfer into real life for special needs students, and often even non-disabled students. So it's really important when you're teaching money skills to be using real money. Practice skills in the home and outside of the home for real life practice. And use manipulatives such as touch points that can be used anywhere rather than using counting blocks or bears. If an elementary student or a student needs that to start with, it's okay to start with that, but it's really important to be able to utilize whatever skill you're teaching anywhere they're at. So calculators are often used on cell phones. Calculator is a good skill, but I'm going to talk about a touch point using and money here in just a second. So when you're teaching touch points, as many of you already are aware, touch points with numbers. If not, I do have another video on how to utilize and use touch points. But many don't know that there's actually touch points for coins as well. So each dot is worth 5. And the dots should always be put on the coins in the exact same spot. So that way, when the coins are used in public and you no longer have those physical dots on the coins, they will visualize them. So I would get either laminate or use some kind of sticky dot, doesn't matter the color, just something that they can visually see and touch. So then when they're counting the coins, they're actually going to be counting by 5s using these dots. And for a penny, it's usually an underline. If you want to use the dot, I would put the dot in the middle of the coin. Just be consistent with whichever method you use. Okay, now we're going to be looking at functional language arts. So communication exchanges are very important. Asking questions in the community, reading and picking items from a menu, ordering food on their own. These are all really important life skills, and they're functional. They're reading, whether it's pictures or whether it's words. Either way, it's functional for our students, and that's okay. Research and exploration of questions. If a student has a question, don't just automatically give them an answer. even if you know it. Teach them how to use skills, whether it's the internet, the library, going places, to explore, to answer those questions. You're teaching them research. So utilize those skills. When you go to a zoo, pose questions, ask questions. If your student is asking questions, find somebody who can help answer those questions, even if you know the answer. It's all about communication and deepening those levels of understanding. Reading. Again, you're going to see a lot of these repetitive. Asking questions and research the answer when it applies. Looking up or asking about unknown words. This is really important, slowly expanding that vocabulary. Writing. Functional writing would include things like filling out envelopes, mailing letters, sending emails, using introductions, punctuation, grammar, as the student continues to develop those skills, and then organize writing. So the best way to start this is send an email to a grandparent or an uncle, an aunt, a neighbor. Find somebody that you can become pen pals with, and then you can practice those skills, and it's real life things that they're going to be utilizing and look forward to as after they graduate. Going to the post office, putting a stamp on the envelope, all those things. So physical life skills in the home, we're looking at laundry. Students can start by folding, matching socks, putting away their clothing, sorting laundry. You can talk about colors when sorting laundry, using the washer and dryer. Dishes, dry, put away, filling or washing the dishes. Starting and stopping the appliance. I put soap, but you can also teach them how to put soap in, but it was supposed to say starting and stopping. Self-care, work on toileting, bathing, dressing and matching clothing, and feeding themselves. Mealtime is really one that incorporates everything. You can talk about setting the table, healthy eating, how to cook safely. Is your food being cooked safely? Hygiene, reading recipes. This incorporates reading and it incorporates math. There's so many skills to be learned with recipes. How to find ingredients, where ingredients is stored in the home. Shopping for the ingredients, how to create a shopping list. Going to that store and looking for those ingredients. How much does it cost? Cleaning up after a meal, or even cleaning up after an activity in general. Why is that important? Safety, all those things. Asking people what they'd like to drink. That's a communication skill. Serving others' plates. Offering to provide a parent or a sibling, would you like some potatoes? And then serving for them. I'm often asked, well, how do I teach how to set the table or how much they should be eating? You can find a lot of place setting templates that you can print and laminate, so that way they know where items go. So here's just 3. You can purchase them, but oftentimes they're free. You can find online. And then you are not directing the student. So here's one that you could actually make at home using construction paper if you don't have a printer. It's a great way for them to visualize and be independent with this skill. You can also find, by using the MyPlate activity or MyPlate purchases, you can find all these on eBay and as well as Amazon. I'm guessing you could probably do the myplate.gov. They probably have stuff there too. They have plates. I don't know if you can see this, but each of the plates are actually sectioned. You can get them colored or you can get them with visuals. So they can see how much should be on each of their plates. This looks big, but the plates are portioned based on if it is a younger child, teen, or an adult. So it's already done for them, and then you are just teaching where they go. Some fun activities if you are still working on structuring fruits, vegetables, proteins, grains, so that way if they don't understand that skill yet, here's some great fun physical activities. You can purchase these or you can make smaller samples from home, just print and cut them out. This is kind of fun to be able to do as a family activity. If you have siblings or parents, you can play the game with the child. So as our children continue to grow, they're getting into that transition age, we still need to continue to work on functional skills. So there's 3 to 4 different areas that we are looking for as a child is graduating or turning 18 to 21. We are looking at community, rec and leisure, independent living, and what are they going to do for continued training post high school. So those are the 4 areas that we're looking at. So community, how are they going to get around in the community? Are they going to be using Uber? Are they going to use, are they going to be able to drive? Are they going to use community transportation? So we want to make sure that they understand how to be able to get around their community. Healthcare, do they know where to go when they are in need of emergency care, who their primary provider is, how to schedule appointments, where they can go for good advice, not to use the internet, but maybe somebody who is in a career field or a trustworthy adult. Our students need to be able to understand laws in the community, rules, following a schedule. Rec and leisure. It's really important that our students have activities that they enjoy. So we're thinking along the lines of maybe church groups, group activities, recreational such as basketball or other sports, hobbies. Maybe they like to garden, maybe they like walking, hiking, lots of different options for that. Reading. Do they enjoy reading? It's okay if they enjoy listening to books on tape, or you can even get different visual books that are read aloud. And vacations. This is important for everybody to understand. We all need a break in life. So what does that vacation look like, and how do we plan and afford them? Independent living skills. As you can tell, this is a really big area. It's really important that our students have the ability to functionally communicate with people. So using PECs, pictures, communication devices, or just simply verbally explaining or requesting those requests, right? So ordering, we're teaching that from a very young age, and obviously as they continue to get older, we want to continue to develop those skills. Emergency support. Do they understand how to find emergency help if needed? Do they understand how to use 911? Follow directions that may be given to them. This is safety. Housing options. Do they know, or do you know what kind of options are available after they turn 18 or 21 for housing? How to gain income. Do they understand, or do you understand what income options are available to your child? It's important that children, depending on their ability, understand their ability and how to communicate with others that are needed to understand that ability, right? So maybe they need to say, if they're hard of hearing, they need to be able to self-advocate, either turning up their hearing aids or asking somebody to repeat themselves. Understand how to clean. We need to make sure our children are taking care of themselves, cleaning up after themselves. If somebody needs something explained, they need to be able to ask, can you please help me understand that? Can they make basic meals? Hygiene, money management, I already talked about green light. And do they know how to treat minor injuries? After they graduate, do they know, or do you know what kind of post-secondary options are there for your child? There's everything from trade schools, life skill colleges, that continues to work on independent living skills. These are designed specifically for special needs children. 2 to 4 year colleges may be appropriate for some students. Group homes, day treatment programs, day programs, and then employment, supported or independent. If you need to get a better idea as to which skills you need to continue to work on, there are several different websites that you can go to get free assessments. Some of them you complete, some of them your child completes. It all depends on, as they continue to get older, what their needs look like. I'll try and click on this and see if it'll load. Okay, so you can see functional skills assessment. It'll ask you, do they know where to get assistance when needed? Ask for assistance when needed. Can they explain their disability? Do they accept that they have a disability? You can tell some of these are going to vary based upon your child's disability severity and needs. So there's a lot of different sections. And so as you go through, you are going to understand more and more what is needed to help support your child. They've got several different types of skills that you can look at. Some of these are repetitive because a lot of them all support the same ideas and needs. So making those choices, problem solving, following a sequence of steps, things like that. So these are available free of charge. There are functional skills available, curriculums that are available for purchase. You do not need to purchase a curriculum. As you can see, they're in your day-to-day life. Some of the things that are helpful to be supported, if you want to purchase them, you can also make them on their own, are like menu math, department store math, all of these things you can find on Amazon. They're just pre-made for you, but again, it's not something that you have to do. It's really for somebody who really wants more of an outline. Sometimes this is more overwhelming than it is helpful, but just something to know that it is out there. This is my favorite thing. Everybody always says, I am constantly fighting with my student, arguing with them to get their academics done. Use a schedule. Remember when I said at the beginning of the slide, when you're working at home, use a schedule. But if you're at home and you're doing math or reading, we're not going to put times in there. I'm going to give you a sample as to what I mean. So this is just a sample. We're not going to, time clock, but what you'd say is breakfast. First, we're going to do breakfast. Then we're going to check our work for the day. We're going to work on math. You can see that you can adjust the schedule then to fit your individual needs. I would suggest using Velcro so you can change out these so that way if you have a planned activity to go out in the community for the day, doctor's appointments, you can put those on the schedule. You can make your schedule as detailed as needed, and you don't have to have a ton of items on it. Maybe your child can only focus on one or two at a time. So I'm going to give you a sample of that as well. Blame it on the schedule. All you got to do is, this kid's like, I don't want to do math. I don't want to do math. Say, well, let's look at what your schedule says. Oh, it says it's math time. We need to do math. That's what's on our schedule. So use that schedule instead of using your demands. Put it on a third party, right? Don't say, Mom says it's time. We want to make sure that they see it's on their visual schedule and blame it on that. Don't use time. Now you're seeing why. Maybe today they can only work on one or two problems in math because it's just being a very difficult day for them. So if you don't use time, except for remember when time is important, such as a doctor's appointment, then you can flex your schedule as needed. Use a reward system. So let's look at what that reward system looks like. First, then, if a child is really needing this is typically either for a student who really struggles with transition or those early years where they're learning schedules, I always start with first, then. First, we clean, then we go outside to do play. First, we do math, then we do reading. First, we do math, then we take a break. Here's another one. You can use a star schedule. Again, I always laminate these and use visuals. And then I would hand the reward or the star to the child, and if possible, give them selective choices for their reward. So maybe you would be okay with them as a reward, either looking at a book or doing jumping jacks or something they enjoy, but it's limited to what you want, right? So give them 2 pictures to choose from and for their reward, and then they get to pick their reward. As they get older and they can handle more reward choices, then you slowly integrate more of those choices. So how I use one of these is maybe after each, if they really struggle with math, reading, whatever it is, after they are completed with one math problem, 1 page of work, you can alter this based upon their age and their ability. They get to put a star on their board. After they accumulate 3 stars, now it's time for their reward. So when they earn it, I like to hand the star to the student and let them put the star on their reward chart. So that way they know what they are working on. So you could use both of these. I always say use one at a time. But if your child's able to, this first one is more of a schedule. This other one is more of a motivator. Okay? All right. And always use visuals. If you need support and you need visuals provided for you, let me know. I have a couple different systems I use. I can print them off and email them to you, or we can look at possibly getting a program if you need one. Laminator and Velcro are going to be your best friends. I hope this helped you with some functional academic understanding and skills. I tried to keep this as short as possible. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'm happy to help you.